students, welcome to the biology online classes. So we were studying chapter 5 morphology of flowering plants. What do you mean by morphology? The external characters and its study of external characters of the organism is known as what? Morphology, isn't it? And in that we have seen that the plant consists of root, isn't it? And the roots can be primary roots, secondary root, tertiary roots, etc. The first formed root is known as primary root, isn't it? And then from that lateral branches originates, and there are two different types of root systems. What are they? Taproot system and there are three. We can classify them into three types, isn't it? What are they? Taproot system, where there will be a main stem, main root, and from that secondary and tertiary roots will be arising. Fibrous root system means what? All the roots will be of the same size, and they'll be arising from the base of the uh, plant, isn't it? Base of the stem. And adventitious roots means they are roots which are originated from the plant other than the radicle. Okay, like this, roots are there. And we have also seen that when we see the root of a plant, isn't it? There are regions like root cap, then region of meristematic activity, region of elongation, and region of maturation, where you can see the what the root hairs. Okay, then we have seen that root modification, in addition to the normal function of roots of absorbing water and minerals, if the roots are doing some other functions, then we call it as what? Root modifications. And I told you prop roots, isn't it, at the roots which are helpful in giving support, isn't it? In banyan tree you can see stilt root, which are seen in sugar cane and all, which also gives support. Okay, pneumatophores are special kind of roots which grow against the gravity and which helps in the respiration. Stem is another part of the plant, and the characteristic feature of stem is what? The presence of nodes and internodes. So let nodes and internodes. Then modifications of stem I told, in addition to the normal function of stem, if the plant is doing some other function, okay, that is called what? Stem modification. For example, for support, tendrils there, and what, sometimes to protect the plant from predators. Okay, plants, the stem will get modified into thorns. Okay, and sometimes you can see in cactus plant. Okay, the plant will have, the stem will have chlorophyll, and they carry photosynthesis. That kind of stem modification is known as phylloclad. Okay, so like this, what modifications also you can see. Okay, then we have studied about the leaf. The part of leaf is leaf base, isn't it? Then you can say leaf lamina. Okay, then epitiole. Petiole is the stalk of the leaf. Okay, sometimes you can see at the base of the stalk, okay, or petiole, there is a what, swollen structure known as pulvinus. Understood? And then we learned about venation. What is venation? The arrangement of veins. Okay, veins and veinlets in the lamina of leaf. So there are two different venation, that is reticulate and parallel venation. Parallel means, okay, this is more commonly seen in where monocot plants. Okay, and reticulate we can see in dicot plants. Clear? Then the leaves can be simple or compound. If only a single leaf lamina is there, then we call it as what? Simple. And if there is number of leaflets, okay, leaf lamina is what, divided into a number of small leaflets, then we call it as compound. And it can be pinnately compound leaf or palmately compound leaf. Then I told you about phyllotaxy. What do you mean by phyllotaxy? Arrangement of leaves around the stem. So you can see alternate, then opposite and world. Okay, in alternate, like this, okay, what you are seeing here, the one leaf from one node and another leaf from another node. Opposite means they'll be seen opposite to each other in the same node. And world means you can see many leaves arranged around a single leaf. Single node. Okay, and leaves also can be modified. For example, what sometimes leaves are modified into spines for reducing the what the transpiration, and also for getting protected from the enemies, okay, or predators. And sometimes you can see leaf tendrils. Okay, tendrils are actually formed to give support. We have also seen about the inflorescence. Okay, so inflorescence is what? It's a group of flowers, okay, to attract the insects, or to become more attractive. Sometimes the flowers will get arranged on the means lot of flowers will get arranged in the floral axis, and that is known as what? Inflorescence. And mainly there are two types of inflorescence, racemose and cymose. Okay, so in racemose what happened, the main axis continues to grow. Okay, the main axis of the inflorescence, they continue to grow. Okay, and the flowers will be produced laterally in an acropetal succession. Means you can see the younger flowers towards the top. Understood? Like this you can see. Then in cymose inflorescence, the main axis is terminating in a flower. You can see here, isn't it? The main axis will terminate in a flower, and then they produce lateral branches. And in this also, the main axis of this branch will terminate in a flower, and the small flowers, or young flowers, they appear on the base. Okay, so this is known as basipetal order, and this is in racemose. You can see what acropetal what succession. Okay, then we have in detail, we have studied about the flower. Okay, so the flower is what? The reproductive unit. And you can see the stalk of the flower is what? The pedicel. Okay, pedicel. And it is having a swollen tip known as thalamus or receptacle, and in this various walls like what? Calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, etc. are arranged. Calyx and corolla are accessory organs or non-essential. Flower can be bisexual, or the flower can be bisexual or unisexual. Bisexual means if both and androecium and gynoecium, if it is there, and unisexual means if any only one is there. Then the flower can be actinomorphic or zygomorphic if the flower can be divided into two equal halves through any plane. Okay, then it is known as actinomorphic. And if the flower can be divided into two equal halves only through one plane, then it is zygomorphic. And if the flower cannot be divided into two equal halves, then it is known as asymmetric. Okay, then the flower can be trimerous, tetramerous, or pentamerous. What do you mean by all this? Trimerous means if the floral parts are 3 or multiples of 3. Tetramerous means 4 or multiples of 4. Understood? Pentamerous means 5 or multiples of 5. Then the flower can be bracteate or ebracteate. Bracteate means if bract is there, a leaf-like structure at the base of the petiole. Then calyx, on the basis of the position of calyx, corolla, and androecium in respect to the ovary, the flowers can be hypogynous, perigynous, or epigynous. What do you mean by hypogynous? If the flower, okay, the ovary, if it is superior, then it is known as what? Means if the ovary is placed above than the other all walls, then we call it as the ovary is superior and the flower is hypogynous. Now epigynous means what? If the flower, okay, or ovary is inferior and the flower is said to be epigynous. And if the ovary is half, okay, inferior, then the flower is perigynous. Now we have studied about the parts of a flower, isn't it? Calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. Calyx units are known as sepals. And if the sepals are united, we call it as gamosepalous. And if they are free, then polysepalous. Corolla, what is the function of it? It attracts the insects, isn't it? And it can be also gamopetalous if it is united, or it can be polypetalous if they are free. Now I have explained you about the estivation. What are the different estivation? What is estivation? The arrangement of sepals or petals in the floral bud. Okay, so there can be different types of estivation like valvate, twisted, imbricate, and vexillary, isn't it? In valvate, I told the sepals are not overlapping or petals. Okay, they are just touching each other. In twisted, there is overlapping, isn't it? And in imbricate, there is overlapping, but that is not in a particular order. Okay, vexillary you can find in what? In Papilionaceous family, and there what, five petals will be there. One will be completely out, and you can see the two wing petals, they are in and out, and standard petals two are there, they join to form a single structure, and it is completely inside. Now we have studied about androecium. The units of androecium is known as stamens. Okay, and the stamens which are sterile are known as stamenoid. Epipetalis means if the stamens are attached to the petals. Epiphyllous means if they are attached to the perianth. Okay, isn't it? And if the stamens are united to form a single structure, it is known as monadelphous stamen. And if they are arranged into two, diadelphous, and more than two, means polyadelphous. Is it clear? So these are what different stamens, specialities of stamens. Gynoecium consists of what? Pistils or carpel, and each carpel can have ovary, style, and stigma, isn't it? And then ovules are attached to a tissue in the what ovary known as placenta. And if all the carpels are united, then we call it as incarpus. And if they are free, we call it as apocarpus. Okay. Now, arrangement of ovules in the ovary is known as placentation. And there are different kinds of placentation like marginal, where you can see the seeds are attached to the ventral suture of the fruit in one side. Okay, then you can see what the axial, you can see here the the seeds or ovules are arranged around a central axis. Okay, in a multilocular ovary. Then parietal means from the sides. Okay, and you can see then next one, that is free central, where here also the ovules are borne on central axis, but there is no septa that separates the ovary. A single what locule or chamber is there. Understood? Then next is what? The basal means from the base of the ovary, the what the ovule is formed. Then I told you about the fruit. Fruit is what? The matured ovary is not fruit. After fertilization, ovary ripens to form the fruit. And sometimes this phenomenon can take place even without fertilization. That kind of fruits which are developed from what? The unfertilized ovary is known as parthenocarpic fruits. Okay, and the fruit can have different layers. That is, the fruit wall is known as pericarp, and it can have different layers like epicarp, mesocarp, and endocarp. Okay, then we have seen about the seed, isn't it? Monocotyledons and dicotyledonous seed. So in dicot seed, what are the parts? Seed coat will be there and the embryo will be there, isn't it? Embryo consists of cotyledons. Okay, they consist of cotyledons and the embryonal axis. Embryonal axis is having plumule and radicle. Okay, plumule will give rise to shoot, and radicle will give rise to what? Root. Okay, and if you see a monocot seed, you can see only one cotyledon is there, and that is known as scutellum. Okay, scutellum. What is it? Scutellum. Okay, and then you can see the embryo is attached to one side, and it is also having what plumule, radicle. Plumule is what covered by a sheath called coleoptile, and radicle is covered by a sheath known as coleorhiza, and the endosperm, which is separated from the cotyledon by a proteinaceous layer known as alluren layer. Alluren layer is also there, isn't it? So this much we have studied about uh, the seeds. Then I have explained you the semi-technical description of a typical flower, isn't it? So in that I have told you you can use both floral formula and floral diagram to explain the characteristic of a flower, understood? So, or a plant, and you can see here this is representing the sepal, okay, and in a floral diagram, okay, and this is the petal, anther, okay, and the ovary, okay. So that same thing you can explain with the help of certain symbols, like actinomorphic means we can use this symbol, okay, and then bisexual, calyx is represented by K, and corolla by C, androecium by A, and gynoecium by G, okay. And if the numbers are put in bracket means they are gamosepalous or gamopetalous, okay, or androecium. If it is monadal first, then you can write the number in bracket, understood? Gynoecium superior, how will you show? By putting a line down, okay, and the inferior ovary is shown by putting a line just above the G, okay. So like this we can explain, and I have explained you about two families also, that is Solanaceae and Liliaceae. Solanaceae is also known as the potato family. What are the distinguishing features of this family? That is the calyx is persistent calyx, okay. That is one of the important feature of what the Solanaceae, isn't it? Then stamens are epipetalous, bicarpellary ovary with a obligately placed, okay, means little bit tilted, the ovary is tilted, okay. And other important feature is swollen placenta, okay, swollen placenta. For formula and diagram also I have explained to you, okay. Then I have explained you about the Liliaceae. This is the family from monocotyledonous plants, okay. So if you see the characters of them, they are they are having perianth, and they are arranged, the tepals of perianth are arranged in two layers, 3 plus 3, and they unite to form a single tube like structure, okay. Stamens also 3 are there, 6 are there, they are arranged in two layers, 3 plus 3, and they are epipetalous. Gynoecium, they are tricarpellary, syncarpous, okay, and what ovary is superior with the trilocular ovary. Trilocular means three chambers are there, okay. So these are they are endospermous seeds, and these are example or special characters of family Liliaceae. I hope this chapter is very clear to you. We'll continue in the with the next chapter in the next day. Thank you.